Hi, it's Leah Richeimer for the Ladies Talk Show. Here's what we're doing now. Marriage Secrets. This is the book. We're going page by page, but we got so many questions that we're just going to do that. We're just going to answer these questions, boom, 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 and go right through them. And thank you, everybody. info@ladiestalkshow.com. That's where you send in your questions, and we're going to carry them through one at a time. So, Sarit, you are on.
Okay, a big one as an opening from Rachel. Okay. She says, as a wife, how can I soften my husband? Basically, he's not nice to her sister, and she wants to have a relationship with her sister, but he's not nice to her. And he's actually not nice to most of her family. She said when they go to Israel and they want to stay by the in-laws and meet her family, he doesn't like my side of the family. My husband won't let me go there by myself with the kids. He'll come with me and ask me to stay there for a very limited time. Should I try and insist to see them more? She also said that her husband, in general, if he doesn't like someone, he will ask her to, in a sense, be rude to that person or react to them in a way that he would. So, for example, if the neighbor, he doesn't like the neighbor, he'll tell her to go tell the neighbor that they don't want her help, or he's channeling and putting his feelings onto her, and now she has to behave to everyone the way he does, and she doesn't want to do that.
Okay, and also I had heard that question, and she also said something about, hold on a second, that her family is dysfunctional. That was in the original question. Reread the question. Yeah, so that's because
they're not so mentally healthy. Do you want me to put that in? I actually thought to leave all that part about.
Yeah, no, that's crucial.
Okay,
that's
fine.
Crucial.
Fine. Okay, not so mentally healthy, because it seems her husband is not like. It seems to me her husband seems to be the type that, in general, is.
Well, he's controlling her. Yeah. However,
right.
There's a difference between control and protect. So that's right. The operative piece of information that tells us that, wait a second, he's trying to steer it towards his family, that he is, on a healthier standpoint. And also there's something in her email that said something about how, he's right a lot of the times. So, I mean, she gets it.
Meaning that's what she was saying, that he's right a lot of the times when he says that when she goes to her family, she ends up getting upset anyways. So he's right that she shouldn't spend so much time there. But because he has this history, I guess, of in general, like when he doesn't like when someone speaks rude to him. So then he's going to be rude to them.
Two different issues. Okay.
Right.
So the two different issues, and let's separate them out. It's easier to tackle them one at a time. The first question is, about him, how a husband feels about the healthy environment for his wife and for his children. He has a sixth sense about it. So I remember somebody said to me, somebody I was working with, and they were like, oh, this person did this and they did that and they did this and whatever. And then they called me up completely shocked and said, can you believe it? They did this. And I'm like, actually, yeah, like, hello, like, in other words, they are continually shocked by how that person is, but an outside person can see like that's a natural progression of who this person is. So no, it's not a shock at all. So that's the same thing with you grow up in a family and it's dysfunctional or abusive, God forbid, or it's it's not a supportive, growing environment. So who knows what's happening? And this is a question that, it might be crucial to it, but when they are, if that husband refuses to let her go to her family without him, right? That just tells you something damaging is going on. Now, it could be he's a control freak. She didn't complain one time in her whole letter about he's controlling to me. Well, we'll get to the second issue, which is about him, what he wants her to tell other people. But the issue from my reading of it, and we're just going to go with that, just for simplicity of trying to do standing on one foot, helping her. The husband was not controlling her. He was trying to protect her. That's how it totally came across to me. And that seemed to be what she intimated when she said he might write much of the time and that her family was dysfunctional. So in that case, it's a kind of thing where she can talk to him, she can tell him her preferences, and I'd like to spend more time with my family, but she has to take, even if it wasn't her husband, but if it was a girlfriend who said, you know, whenever you come home from your parents' house, you always are in a bad mood. You always are insulted. You're crying for a few days, or you're upset they said this, or, you know, whatever. Even if a girlfriend was trying to protect her, that's the same thing. But her husband is trying to protect her, and she's obligated to listen to him because she's too buried in the whole, you know, the whole relationship for her to be able to see it for what it likely is. So that's the first thing, is that for him, I think, given the facts that as we have him, she should listen to her husband and do what he says and what he advises, because he's trying to protect her in terms of visiting her family. And when you said they go to Israel and then she wants to visit with them or whatever, she needs to use whatever boundaries her husband sets. That's what she should likely follow, unless there's extenuating circumstances, which we don't know. But from the facts as they're given, she needs to take his protection on this. Regarding the
I think actually, Leah, as I'm reading it again, you actually nailed it, because I don't think her husband's trying to control her about the neighbor either, because she actually says, when the neighbor is rude to me, so then he tells me, I don't want you to go do what the neighbor is asking you for. When it seems like this is someone who has a hard time with, you know, people like pushing her around, and he is trying to be her protector. So you nailed it. I think you nailed it.
Yeah, I think so. Also. Yeah, for number 2 as well. That's great, because also the thing about it is that if she grew up in a, you know, mentally unstable home, or somebody with mental health issues or abuse issues, or whatever happened that her husband is like shying her away from, she herself does not know what's normative. She herself doesn't know, like, you know, like if someone came to a normal person and said, you're a jerk, they'd say, no, I'm not. Don't even say that, you know. Whereas if they grew up in an abusive thing and the person said, you're a jerk, they'd say, I am. You know, that's not the appropriate, unless they are a jerk. No, but I'm just saying, you know, they don't have that normative self-esteem, or that normative, what would be the right thing to respond to. So it sounds like her husband's protecting her, and I hope she heals from whatever she grew up with that wasn't so good or pleasant, and that her husband continues to have health and long life to take care of her. Okay, good. Next question.
Amen. Okay. So from Tova, how do we manage the dynamic where I'm the one who works full-time with tremendous responsibility at work and brings in the bulk of the income, while he has always had the flexibility of being more available in the mornings, evenings, etc.?
And what's the problem?
Well, because she's still has to do the stuff at home. And if he's more available, then why isn't he taking on more? Why isn't he taking the kids, doing the carpools, doing the, you know, the dinners?
Right. So every couple has to have their conversation about who's going to do what, you know, and if she's working full time and he's not, then there is a little bit of what they would call role reversal. Now, people who are watching this show for the first time, you're like, role reversal, he should chip in and everything should be equal. Go watch a bunch of ladies talk shows and you'll understand that equality is very, very crucial in the workplace, and we should fight for it as women. But equality is the wrong measure for the home. And in the home, shalom, peace, is what we measure. So the conversation that it seems like hasn't happened is who's going to do what, and also what can be hired out. If she's bringing in the bulk of the money, maybe she like, and he doesn't want to cook, or he thinks that's women's work, or he has no interest, or his food just is bad, you know, lousy food, like, oh, hot dogs again for the 7th night in a row, whatever it is. Then they have to think about, okay, where's our budget? Should we be, you know, having should we getting takeout twice a week, or should we, you know, hire somebody to come on every Sunday for 4 hours and cook food for the week for us and freeze it and whatever. It takes a lot of creativity to figure out what is going to be a great solution for our family. But again, the answer to her question: communicate. Have a conversation about this with your husband. Okay, next conversation.
Okay, amazing. So from Sarah, she writes, what to do when he turns every situation into a joke and makes light of it, especially when someone is talking to him seriously and he's playing around. People look at you signaling whether he's okay or not mentally well because they're in different wavelengths. So it seems like the people are actually, you know, letting her know that, like, what's wrong with your husband? We're having a serious conversation and he's completely joking around.
So I'm not quite sure why this is her business.
I think she's just embarrassed that people think her husband is nuts.
Okay.
You know?
Well, the operative thing here is loyalty. Are you joking? You're going to take somebody else's opinion of your husband over your husband, of being loyal to your husband, and you're going to like look at the other person like, oh yeah, he is crazy. You know, no, this is a question of, this is your test of loyalty. This is your test of loyalty. God is watching. You know, there's nothing more devastating you can do for your husband's well-being, for your own well-being, for your relationship than proving your disloyalty publicly. So if he's too goofy and whatever, making light of the situation, and that's his personality. You know, I hear these women, they marry a guy because he's got a great sense of humor, and now 10 years later he's joking all the time, and they're whatever, that's what they wanted in the first place, you know. So I'm not saying that having litzonis or lightheadedness all the time and whatever is the right way to be. You know, maybe he gets uncomfortable when things get serious. A lot of people do. They start tittering or laughing under the direst information comes out. You know, it's you know, maybe a slight bit social awkwardness. Maybe it's trying to bring a lightness to the table. Maybe his whole methodology is everyone's, boy, why is everyone so heavy and whatever? Let's bring some lightness to it, and that's a gift that people have. So we don't have enough information to look at it from all angles, but from what the question was and from what you said, this is a lack of loyalty on your part. And you need to do everything you possibly can, 1,000% over it, to prove your loyalty, no matter how he acts, no matter how embarrassed you are, no matter, you know, what he's doing or what's going on. This is your opportunity to show loyalty to your husband. Yeah, I'm just trying to think if I'm missing any angle. I think based on the information I have, that's the best advice I can give you. Okay, good. Next one, Siri.
Okay, so from Rifki, she says, hi, I've been reading your great book, Marriage Secrets, life-changing. Thank you. My husband wants to know if there's a book.
I have to show that to the
Yes, exactly. Yes,
all
show
the money
the book.
goes to Tzedakah, so there we go.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
220 sources, Torah sources.
Torah sources.
My husband wants to know if there's a book you'd recommend for men that would work together with your book. All the best. Thank you.
Oh, that's very good. I don't know one. But if your husband wants to do follow the 3 rules for a man, they're very simple. They all start with A: attention, appreciation, and the American Express card. And I did them in the wrong order. Okay. You guys are all laughing. No,
yeah, I was going to say American Express card has to go first, Leah, because when you have the American Express card, appreciation and attention are both included.
Covered, right? Exactly. Yeah, so I don't have something like that. We did years back. I gave a class, and there was, I think there was 56 or 58 women in that class, and they begged me, and I'm like, ladies, Rav Moshe Cordovero says all bracha comes from Shemayim through our husband and to us. He's the giver, we're the receiver. That's Gemara. So ladies, if you are the receiver, right, your husband will give. You don't need to have him have a book. And they're like begging. So fine, I found a rabbi to teach the class. Out of 56 or 58 women who were in the class, I think 18 of them got their husband to sign up for the class, and 4 showed up. I was so embarrassed for the rabbi. I never asked him again. So embarrassed. Men are not racing to go learn what they need to do to be a good husband. Some are, and they want to learn, and that's fantastic. And maybe you can find, keep looking for that type of a book. But what I'm telling you right now is, if the woman learns our Masorah of Shalom Bayis, which is standing on one foot, is be the receiver, okay? But if a woman learns the Masorah and starts enacting it, then the flow from Shemayim through her husband to her will just naturally increase. Guaranteed. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Amazing. Okay, so Eliana asks, how important is it to have girlfriends? My husband and I moved away after getting married, and I've had a hard time making new friends.
Mm-hmm. So there is a source that talks about how a woman needs to go to the well and talk with her friends. Okay, I don't remember what the quote is, but it was something of having to do with the well, and it was basically that a woman needs to be. Look, ladies, we have 9/10 of speech. If we use it all on our poor dear husbands, we're going to kill the guy. Okay, so we're going to blah 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 blah. You need to find girlfriends. So the way to do that is volunteer somewhere, volunteer at the show, volunteer at some organization. You'll find like-minded people. That's really the fastest way to make friends, because when you're going to something like, let's say you're just going to a tea party, like hello, and everybody's got their show face on or whatever. Whereas if you're volunteering and you're all stuffing envelopes and can you hand me that one or whatever, there's laughter, there's love. That's a really lovely way to meet people quickly. Also, if you have one friend there or know one person there, say, listen, I'm feeling a little bit, I'm in a new town and I don't know hardly anybody. Would it be possible for you to have a Suda with other couples that you think my husband and I would like? Or some people don't have mixed Suda. So, then you could say, would it be possible for you to have a girls' night out where we do an art class or something like that? You have to sort of see what's done in the community to make friends, whether that's going to show, whether that's a parent being volunteering at the school or going to PTA meetings or something like that. Use your Bini Yasera, your strategies, your wisdom to try different things. You might try this and there's 7 people around the thing and you don't like any of them. Okay, been there, done that. No, joking. Nobody taking offense. But anyway, what I'm saying is that you try this, try that, be creative and try and figure out a way. But it is very, very crucial that you have some people that you can feel close to and depend on. And when they have a baby, you cook for them. And when you have a baby, they cook for you. If you're, you said you're newly married, so that's in the Parsha. But if you're an older person, it's very interesting. I had a woman who was shliach, and she I can't remember the town she went to. She went to a small town, and she was there 30 years growing the community. And she was the rebbitzin of the community and growing it and whatever. And then she went to move where her kids went. So she went to her kids and she knew nobody. And she went from being sort of the center of the whole thing to now, whatever. She went to being, not knowing anybody, not even being invited out as a Shabbos guest or inviting for a Shabbos guest when she used to host 20, 30 people all the time, constantly. That might have been before COVID. But anyway, she went to a Rav. And she said, what do? I used to spend, my whole life was chesed. My whole life was taking, by the way, there's a Pesach I'm going to give you that he gave that doesn't mean it's for you. You have to ask your own Pesach, but I'm just going to share this with you. So she said, what do? I spent every day of my life was cooking for this one. And that one had a baby. And the lady up the street, the almana, the widow I took care of her, whatever. I'm here. I'm kind of like shot out of a cannon. Don't know anybody. I'm not invited. But don't even, if you said, have people for Shabbos, I don't even have anybody to call and invite. The Rav said to her, Mrs. Jones, whatever, time already served. Your job now is to enjoy your grandkids. It's like pretty powerful. So I'm not saying that she's not going to do chesed the rest of her life. We want to every day do as many mitzvahs as we possibly can. But what he was saying to her is, you're in a different time, in a different place in your life right now. And this is what your job is take care of your grandkids. So I'm sure she had eventually met friends and had them for Shabbos lunch, or dinner. But in any case, the answer to your question is work hard. There's a very important Gemara, I believe, from a Jewish source that says, make yourself a friend, even if you have to buy a friend, buy them gifts and try, that's seen as very, very crucial in our day-to-day life.
But I actually, by the way, I have a great idea for that person as well, is she should take the Marriage Secrets book and put it out in the shul into the neighborhood that she's going to start a class in her house and do a Marriage Secrets class.
Wow, great idea.
And she'll get to know all the people.
And the instructions on how to do that are in the very back.
Yeah, and it's worked for so many people when they went into new community to like start it as a
actually there was a lady who did it in her basement. She moved to a new community, and then every week they watched the ladies talk show and talk about
it. Exactly. And that's how they formed friends. So you know, it works for it'll make an amazing marriage, and it'll give her friends.
There you go.
Okay. And by the way, Leah, you basically opened up to my next question, because the next question was exactly about chesed. So basically this one is from Priva. She said, I have an amazing coworker who's kind, honest, friendly. However, she's constantly asking me for favors. I would never ask someone to do all the things that she asks me. Am I missing the chesed muscle? Is this annoying to me because I need to work more on myself? Is there a limit to how much someone can ask you?
That's a very good question. So the first thing that Priva needs to, yes, she's nodding. Okay. The first thing that Priva needs to think about is this her only avenue for doing mitzvahs, or only avenue for doing chesed? Is she also helping out at the school? Is she also, you know, driving her friend's carpool who just had a baby, and she's, you know, taking, okay, this year I'll take care of it. You've got little twins at home. Let me do carpool for you for the year. So you have to know your own capacity. What you are doing elsewhere. I'm sure she's not just helping this coworker. She's doing her other mitzvahs also. So but to answer the question, yes, there is a limit. If there is somebody who is constantly, you know, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? And kind of straying past the boundaries of normal relationship, there is room for you to say, you know, I feel like every day I come to work and you ask me for something else or whatever, can you, you know, just try and I care about you, and I want to be there for you, and I want to do chesed, but there's part of me that feels like, okay, enough already. You know, I do this, I do that. I have a lot of other things I'm doing in my life. And you can have that conversation with them, and it's perfectly appropriate, unless the person's mentally deficient, or the person is, you feel, again, you can't rebuke somebody unless they're going to take the rebuke, and if it's going to hurt her too much, or it's going to, you know, make her be an enemy, and she's going to badmouth you to the boss, and it's going to cause you problems, then you might be in a tough position. And then when she asks you something, you can say something like, you know, I don't know what these favors are. It would be helpful to know. But let's say she keeps saying, oh, you know, I'm running out of food. Can you bring me food tomorrow? Oh, also, you know, the boss asked me to do this. I have to leave early. Can you stay an extra half hour late to close and lock up the shop? I don't know what these favors are, whether they're reasonable or unreasonable. But one thing you can use, if she says, you know, can you bring me lunch tomorrow? Say, you know, you ask me that, you know, several times every week. And my husband, blame it on him. My husband just said, you know, we can't afford it anymore, or he sees me staying up late to make an extra lunch, and he got a little upset at me. So I'm so sorry, I can't do that anymore. So if it's going to hurt you in your career by saying no, you have to take into consideration, how are you going to phrase it to them in a way that doesn't make an enemy? And using your husband as an excuse might be one way. And again, not knowing what the specifics are of what she's asking, it's a little hard to give specific advice, but as a general rule, your question was based on, are you being mean by not doing the chesed? Is there a limit to what you do? And the answer is absolutely yes. You know, I'm the type, I can cook for 25 people for Shabbos lunch, but if you ask me on a Tuesday, can you just make some chicken and rice for this other family, they just had a baby, I'm like, yeah, you know, I can't, it just throws my whole, you know, like I would have had to, the week before I had the chicken in the fridge, and, you know, everybody's got their different capacities. So you have to know your capacity, and it's fine to say no. And when people say, can you please do meal train for this? I say, yeah, can I just do Shabbos? I'll make them challah. And then I have enough days in advance to do something like that. You have to know yourself. Okay, great question.
Yeah, and by the way, Leah, it's amazing that blame the husband thing. You actually taught it to us many years back on when we did one of our classes, and I have a very hard time saying no to people. And you actually said to me, start using your husband, saying, oh, my husband just, you know, he doesn't want me to take on anything, or my husband right now wants me to do something else. And so I could say no without feeling like I'm saying no in a mean way. So it's, I love that advice.
Yeah. And the thing about it, it kind of lets a woman know that you honor, he's your king. You know what I'm saying? In a very subtle way. And they see him, a king can also be very, you should need to do this, but there's also a good side to a king, which is that he gets you out of stuff. So now if they treated their husband more like a king, then they could use, it's a very subtle thing like that. But it's it's a way out of some things without hurting people's feelings. Something.
Okay. And I don't know what's with you today, but it's unreal because you brought up the next question literally by saying about the criticism, people not being able to take rebuke and criticism. And that's the next question by Dina, who says, she learned that it says people are receptive to criticism only when they're treated with respect and shown genuine concern. She said, can you please elaborate on that in an upcoming show?
The people are only
receptive to criticism if they're treated with respect and shown genuine concern. So, I'm saying,
there's something Rav Noach Weinberg said, a thing, I hope I get it right. It was basically, people don't care how much you know unless they know how much you care. I think I got it right, So it's kind of like there's a connecting with somebody first before you can do
before
that.
You bop them over the head.
But also the other thing is that there's also something very, very important to the respect, because people have a very big, they're upside down about respect. Well, he didn't earn my respect, and well, I don't really respect her. Respect is granted, never earned. Meaning people are waiting for their husband to be respectable, and then they'll respect him. It's like, no, you got it backwards, lady. Your husband can only be respectable if you respect him. And it's kind of like a man will live up to his wife's greatest. If his wife thinks he's a superstar, he has the potential to be a superstar. If she thinks he's such a, oh my goodness, he can't accomplish anything, that's who he is. The woman creates the reality of who her husband is. This is many, many sources for this. And so for you as a wife, if you want a real husband that you look up to, it's your doing. It's you. Respect is granted, never earned. So the key to the answering of your question is that there's it's in your power. It's in your power to do that. Very good.
Okay, so the last question, and then we're going to try this at home.
Okay.
Is from Brenda, who says, what do I do in a situation where a woman is more sensitive to relationships while pregnant? So in general, everything's, increased in her sensitivity due to being pregnant.
Good night.
What do you mean? She says, I'm sorry, I'm off wife duty for like the next 9 months.
Right,
leave me alone.
Right.
Everyone leave me alone.
So first of all, it's very good that you know this about yourself and been there, done that. I think all of us are like that. All of us. I mean, I remember once I was pregnant and a woman, a limousine, very stretch white limousine stopped, and out came a bride and a groom, and they were doing pictures or whatever, and they stood in front of the fountain, and then they went back into the limousine, went up. I was bawling my eyes out. Seeing a bride and groom, like whatever. But we're all like that. So it's perfectly normal, perfectly natural. And if you can make light of it with your husband, like he was laughing hysterically, which I love. Like I could have easily taken offense that he's laughing at me, but I'm like, there was a closeness that came from the just being who we are in the moment. And so I don't think it's anything bad. I don't think it's wrong. I think it's something you need to tell your husband, like, I know that, I'm sensitive, much more sensitive than a guy is, than you are, but now it's like on steroids, and I'm sorry, but and you can even say to your husband, if this wouldn't bother you, you could say something like, you can call me out on it if you want. Like, in other words, if I'm sitting there saying, can you believe she did that? Can you? You're like, I think our pregnancy hormones are raging because what she did wasn't really that bad. I hear you. I don't mean to shut you up, but you can give your husband permission to make light of it, and that might make it easier for you because you'll feel like you're not pushing everyone away by your sensitivity. I mean, that's the downside. When you're hyper sensitive, everything they do, you take offense at. And so you just can't feel close to anybody because they're doing all these things that are annoying you. Like they should have known that they shouldn't have said that or done that. So very, very, very lighthearted. If you can bring some lightheartedness into it and give that permission again, and that's done by communication, saying, I get it. I'm hypersensitive and I want to get through this as best I can. So, work it out. And again, you could put it in his lap and say, how do you think we should do this so that my hypersensitivity doesn't drive you crazy?
No, blame the child. Say, this baby growing inside of me is so sensitive.
There you go. There you go.
We're going to have this sensitive child.
There you go. That's good. Fantastic. One time this week, show your husband extraordinary respect. Extraordinary. So that might mean in front of your mother-in-law, you guys are on the phone and she says something and this and that. And then you say, you wouldn't believe how nice your son is. I was there and I was trying to bring all the groceries in and things were spilling. And he just said, you go rest. And he did the groceries, whatever it is. Find something. Sorry, take that back. Make up something. Okay. You create something to respect him about and then show him extraordinary respect. Report back to me, info@ladiestalkshow.com, because I would love to hear somebody's doing this homework and how it shifted the whole relationship to more closeness. Okay. It's Leah Richeimer for the Ladies Talk Show. Mwah. Thanks again. We'll see you next week.